Welcome back, listeners. I'm Robin Black, and this is It's All About Healing podcast. Man, I hope everyone is having a wonderful holiday season. This is so amazing. I still can't believe that we're towards the end of the year already and it's Christmas time. But I wanted to share with you guys today that God will always show you an instant replay. And this is my testimony of how everything has been going. And God just put it on my spirit this morning to speak with you about it. But for some of you, I know who are listeners, you guys have heard my story before in some of my previous episodes. But my year 2022 and 2023 have been some very, very trying years because of everything that I went through. But I know that God, the way that he wakes us up, some of us may feel that, man, this is a terrible way to put us through all this turmoil and this suffering. And that's just, it's hard, but it's what wakes us up. It's how he grabs our attention, right? It's not ideal, but it's the way that he has to do it. And I remember in 2022, in January of 2022, I quit my job where I was there for 6.5 years. And I ended up not having a job all year. But God took care of me. And that's the most amazing thing, is when you're in the midst of turmoil, you don't see how God is carrying you, but he gives you that instant replay. And I remember when God showed me towards the end in December of 2022, he showed me selling my house. It's like God was telling me to sell your house. And I was just like, okay, I went through a lot with this house. I had the roof was falling up. Like, so many things happened with that house in 2022. And God was finally just like, you know what? It's time for you to leave. He showed me in visions. He showed me the realtor I was supposed to use, and he showed me the apartments that he wanted me to move to. And I had to just trust him. I was like, okay, God, I'm trusting you. I know exactly where to go to this apartment. That's where I'm going to go. And when he showed me this apartment, he showed me the back of the apartment, because I went to go visit the apartment, and I was like, okay, I know God's telling me to be here. And he directed me to drive to the back of the apartment complex. And I was like, I know I'm gonna be here. But in January of 2023, this year, I moved to these apartments, but God moved me in the front. And I was like, okay, he didn't show me that in the vision, so I don't understand, but maybe I got it wrong. And then I started thinking, so then we're moving in, and then the apartment had this smell to it, and it drove me nuts. I was like, something is just not right in this apartment. I was just like, I don't know if the previous tenants maybe smoked and it's just in the walls. I don't know, but it's like this weird stale smell, and I don't like it. But I moved in January 13th of 2023, and then February, I don't remember, I think it was February 24th, the fire happened, right? And the apartments just burned. They just were engulfed in flames, and we had a lot of water damage. We lost everything. And I remember, because I still was not working, and I was just like, okay, God, I remember I had $5,000 left in my bank account, right? Because I had a savings, but I had $5,000 left in my bank account. And I remember, like, these apartments are way more expensive than what my mortgage even was, but I know God's going to take care of me. And this fire happened, right? And it's like, man, that's a tough way of taking care of me, but it was. And I remember my friend Cameron, he was the news reporter. He was like, everyone who's wondering why this woman behind me is so happy, this is just who she is. And it's like, that's who I am, because I know that God is taking care of me. I know that God is ordering my steps, because he's very calculated. I knew I didn't have enough money to finish out this lease because I didn't have a job. So even though in the midst of the storm, I had to go through hotels, and then my mother was like, why don't you just come live with me? And I was just, sometimes when you are going through turmoil, you can't even think straight. And I couldn't. All I could think about was, I have to be strong. right? I have to be strong. And that's not technically, that's not necessarily a mindset that we want to be in, but some of us have to be in that state of mind, especially when you have children. My children were traumatized by that fire, seeing that fire and having to go through that. So I'm like, I just got to keep pushing. I can't think straight. My mother said, why don't you just come stay with me? And I was like, oh, well, duh. It didn't even dawn on me. I'm trying to stay strong and figure it out. And you lose your train of thought. It's hard to stay on track of which way to go. So through all of that, I still didn't have a job, right? I didn't have a job for almost a year and a half to close to 2 years. I had little jobs. I had to Uber, I had to do Lyft and try to just make ends meet. I had to just really get out here and grind and just keep going and going and going because I had two of my children to take care of. But the whole entire time, God kept showing me that instant replay of, hey, you're going to be okay. You remember when I carried you through this. I carried you through the fire. I carried you through the cell of your house. You're going to be okay. Then I get a job and I'm like, oh, great. I got this wonderful job. But I didn't know that this job was going to treat me terribly, just like the other previous job. So I'm like, it's still everything's a blessing, right? Everything's a blessing that God gave me. I got a job. I can go ahead and get up. And then, so from February to May, we were with my mother. So then we move again. And now the apartment that we moved to is in the back of the neighborhood. And I'm like, I know in the vision, God showed me the back of this neighborhood. And now we're in the back. So now I know, again, we're right on track. God showed me that instant replay. And I was like, I remember that vision. And I remember he showed me that we were living in the back of these apartments. And now the apartment that I'm in is in the back of this apartment complex. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what's about to happen, but I know that I'm supposed to be here because this is exactly the exact vision that God showed me. I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. So I'm good. I'm okay. So I'm thinking that everything's good. But the job that I got, it's like it took a long time because it was again in transportation. But it was a fleet dispatcher, but that's the one thing that I did not do was dispatch. All I did was call customers all day. So I was basically a receptionist, and it bothered me because I knew the wealth of knowledge that I came with in transportation. I'm like, okay, whether it's DOT, it's OSHA, it's FTA, whatever it is, you name it, I know it, especially compliance, safety compliance at that. I'm like, this is what I know. I know how good I am in transportation. Transportation I breathe transportation. It comes very easy to me. But I didn't understand why this company wasn't putting me in a position to do anything besides calling people. And I did this for 7 months, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is a blessing. God put me here. He put me here for a reason. So I'm not going to complain. But then that's exactly what I started doing, because what God does, he puts us in a position where we become very, very uncomfortable. The only way to make us move sometimes is through being uncomfortable. And I was like, it started bothering me. And I'm like, this is just bothering me too much. I am beyond uncomfortable here. And I'm about to write the owner of this company an email because I need him to know what's going on. And then when I wrote this email, when I spoke to him about it, he said, Robin, I can feel how upset you are in this email. And he said, I just want to know, do you just need me to hear you? Maybe you feel that you're not being heard. And I didn't realize that either. I didn't realize how angry I was and how it was. I just wanted to be heard because I'm like, I'm so sick and tired of people not seeing my value, right? But God was like, it's not about other people seeing your value. They did their assignment. Where I placed you, I knew, right? God saying, I already knew that they weren't going to allow you to do anything but call people, because I needed you to see you. I needed you to see your value. It's not about other people seeing it. It's not about other people being like, okay, I trust Robin and Robin should do this and Robin should do that. No, it's about me knowing that. Because when we see our own value and that confidence, it starts to exude, right? We start being able to see it ourselves. And I started applying for jobs. I started just, every break that I had, I'm sitting here applying for a job, applying for a job, applying for a job. And I did that for 4 months. 4 months. I had nothing but no's. I would have a couple of interviews, then I would never hear from them again. And I'm like, I'm not used to this. This has never happened, especially in transportation. Like, transportation is the easiest job to get. So I'm like, okay, what is going on? This doesn't make sense. But God was like, I needed you to get all of these no's because I was waiting for you to rediscover you, for you to see your value. And I knew that this yes was waiting, and I knew the time that it was going to take for you to get to this yes. God has to align so many different people. The people that he places in our lives, he places strategically. Even when they treat us terribly, they may say certain things, they may do certain things, but it's all by his design. He wants them to do that because he's teaching us something. There's a lesson that needs to be learned when he puts us in these positions that we're going through and we're not understanding. We're just mad, right? We're just mad at the world. But it's like you got to start thinking and come back to self of, okay, now I have to try a new way of thinking. Why is this happening? It's not about what is happening. It's why is this happening? Why are these people treating me like this? And why? It's their assignment. God placed them, right? Sometimes he'll put people on hold so that they don't see your value, right? That veil will come down because he doesn't want them to see it, because he's teaching you something right now. And I still remember when that call finally came through. I got a call for a transportation supervisor position. And I was like, okay, all right, cool. We were on that phone interview for 10 minutes. And the general manager, he told me, he said, you know what? I don't even need to interview the other people that I have. I know that I want you for this position. And I couldn't believe it, right? I almost started crying on the phone in front of him, but I choked back my tears. But I said, this is nothing but God. This is absolutely nothing but God. This man was on the phone with me for 10 minutes and hired me for this position. And when I was talking to the lady who was getting all the paperwork and stuff ready, she was like, yeah, I'll send this email over to you. The email never came, right? And I was like, okay. And I started to get worried. And then I was speaking to my mother, and you know how mothers are. Mothers are always your rock, not everyone, but for me, she is. My mother's my rock. And she was like, it's going to be okay. Just be patient, Robin. And I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to my mom. She said to be patient. And then I was like, oh, it was weighing so heavily on my heart. I was just like, I'm worried. And this woman, okay, this wonderful woman, she texted me at 10:30 at night, which never happens. At least I don't think. At 10:30 at night, and she said, hey, I'm just letting you know that I didn't forget about you. It's just me and the general manager are going over some things. We're going over some paperwork, and we're trying to go over your pay and everything, and we'll get back to you. And I'm like, God is closest to the brokenhearted, the heavy heart. Like, my heart was heavy. My heart was beginning to, become worried, because I'm like, why haven't I received this email? Did this job just disappear? Was it too good to be true? Those are the things that I was thinking about. And when she sent me that text, my mind was immediately put at ease. I could finally go to sleep. And I'm like, I know that was nothing but God. That was nothing but God being able to put my mind at ease, letting me know, Robin, it's going to be okay. And then the next day, or the next 2 days, it took her because it was over the weekend. That's right. I didn't want to go the whole weekend, and God must have knew I didn't want to go the whole weekend being worried about it. So then that following Monday, around like 2:00 at night, or 2:00 in the afternoon, she calls me and she says, Robin, me and the general manager have been talking. We don't want you for the transportation supervisor position after all. And all I was thinking in my mind was, okay, you know what? That's fine. Because that means that God in the universe has something else for me. That's okay. And she said, actually, we want you for the operations manager position. And I was just like, this is nothing but God. God, it took me to see my value when I was at this job for 7 months and they had me just being a receptionist. It was like, it bothered me because I left a position that I was at for 6.5 years where I worked as a supervisor, but they didn't see my value either. And I'm thinking, these people don't see it. These people will probably see it, but these people don't see it either. So what is the problem? I'm not understanding what the problem is. The problem is that I wasn't seeing it. When we see our own value, that's what we carry. That's how we start to carry ourselves. And I still remember when I was speaking to my little brother, who lives in California, he was like, every time I would talk to him about that position, he was like, I can tell that you're very passionate about transportation. And that's what this gentleman said on the phone. He said, Robin, I can hear it in your voice, the way you speak about it, that you are very passionate about transportation and you know what you're talking about. And when God blesses you, he always gives you more than what you ever could have imagined. Even when you, at times, you think, there's no way that I deserve this, but God still did this, and he did this for me. And that's exactly what he did. And I still can't believe it because I start this new position on the 26th, the day after Christmas. And I really, truly believe that this is my Christmas gift. This is a Christmas gift from God that I never, ever expected, right? He always surprises us when we least expect it, and he gives us more. It's like that when I thinking about that job that I didn't have and the house that I no longer have. It's like, trust me, he will replace it. Whatever you lose, he is going to replace it, but he's going to replace it with more. He's going to replace it with better because he's showing you who he truly is. That's how you are able to see who God is. I still remember when I was younger, I was about 16. And my father used to always tell me and my brother Derek, like he would always say, just whatever you do, get your CDL. And me and my brother were always constantly like, what are you talking about? Like, why does he keep telling us about this CDL? I don't understand. I'm 16. I don't even know what a CDL is. But he keeps talking about it, And he was just embedding it in us like constantly, When I turned 18, he was like, well, when you're 21, get your CDL. And I was just like, all right, whatever, just kind of just kept brushing it off. Like, I have no idea what he's talking about. And then I think when I was about 22, 23, I finally did. I finally went and got my CDL. And it's like, again, God gives me that instant replay. It's like, that was God speaking to me through my father. Even started when I was a baby, when I was only a teenager. God started talking to me back then. Get your CDL because I know what I have for you. I know what you were chosen to do. And you were chosen to be that intermediary in transportation. Right? I'm able to get people from here to there. That is what I'm supposed to do. But I also do it as far as like your spiritual, the spiritual realm and the physical realm, right? That's why he told me to start. It's all about healing. It's bringing people together. It's bringing these connections together, and it's taking people out of a dark place and bringing them towards the light, guiding them towards that. That's why everything that I have spoken to you, you put it in a book. That's when I wrote the book, Silent Night, Deliver Us from Pain. Everything that he's spoken to me through my poetry, and it's all about healing. It's like I put it in a book because it's going to be people who need that book. It's going to be people who need to hear this podcast because, again, it might be the book that you're reading that I wrote or the words that I'm speaking, but it's God who is speaking through me. We are all an image of him. He is showing us who he is through our creativity, and he's making us a part of his masterpiece. It all starts to come together. I even remember he brought it back to my attention just today of when my brother, when Derek got a motorcycle, and he was just like, he was teaching me how to ride it. He was like, okay, Robin, you're going to be on the back of the motorcycle. He said, but I need you whenever I turn and the bike turns left, you go left. If I go right, you lean to the right, because your body is naturally going to want to lean in the other direction because it's going to look scary. It's going to look like you may fall. But he said, Robin, just trust me. I will not let anything happen to you. Just hold on to me. And wherever I lean, you lean that way too. And that was my brother, right? I trust my brother with my life. But that God brought me back. He brought back that memory because God was like, that's how I want you to trust me. Because that was me. I had both you and your brother, right? I wasn't going to let anything happen to you. But that's the way that we have to lean on God. Whatever way that he's taking us, even when we can't see what's going on, it looks a little funny. We're like, I don't know about this. That's God. You just have to be able to just trust him. God will bless you, even when we think that we don't deserve it, even when we just don't see it. A lot of times in the wait, he's waiting on us to rediscover us. He's waiting on us to see our own value. He's waiting on us to grow that confidence in ourselves, but also that confidence, that faith, and that trust in him. That's all that sometimes we stand in the way of ourselves. We stand in the way of our own blessings because we don't want to let go and just trust that God has it wherever I am taking you. Just trust that I have you. And I knew that it was coming because he started giving me that instant replay. I'm like, when he told me to sell my house, I was okay. When that fire came, I knew I was going to be okay. It doesn't happen the way that we want, and it makes us uncomfortable when we're in the midst of it. But God is very strategic and very calculated in the things that he does, the things that he takes us through. Once we discover who we are, once we rediscover who we are, people start picking up what we're putting down. So it's not about, I have to tell people who I am or what I bring to the table and this and that and the third. No, you start to exude that. You start to carry yourself like that. So you won't have to say anything. And that's when all these blessings just start coming out of nowhere. It's about keeping that faith no matter what it looks like. And once you tell God and the universe what it is that you want, you send your prayers up and you let go. Don't even worry about how it's going to all unfold. Don't worry about how it's going to come to pass. And we tend to get in the mode of, I want to try to make it happen. I want it now, right? That we can't be in that state of mind anymore. It's very hard to get rid of that state of mind, right? And that's when we start going through all of these turmoils, all these trials and tribulations we start going through because God's trying to kill that ego. He's trying to kill our old beliefs. And that's just as Jesus died on the cross. That's exactly what he did, right? He died on that cross, but then he resurrected 3 days later. And that's what's going on with us. After our transformation comes our resurrection. And now we rise. Now we know where we stand. It's like I know who I am because I know that I trust and I believe in God. No matter where I'm going, no matter what I go through, I know God has me in his hands and he will not allow me to fall. God is going to take care of me no matter what. It's sometimes it's about being strong versus being happy, right? Because we all want to be happy. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable. But sometimes you have to go through your season of, I have to be strong. Because understand, you don't have to live in that mindset. You don't have to be in that state of being forever. It's going to be temporary. My 2022 and my 2023, I had to be strong. But by 2024, I know I am and I will continue to be happy because now I'm content. I'm content with where God is taking me and where he's moving me because I trust him. I trust him the way that I was always supposed to. God in the universe will surprise you more than you ever could have imagined. I just invite you to just trust God and let him lead you. Everyone have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. Stay blessed. Again, I'm your host, Robin Black, and this is It's All About Healing podcast. If you're navigating grief, toxic relationships, trauma, financial pressure, or the slow work of rebuilding after setback piled upon setback, this channel is for you. Our community now spans 118 countries, proof that real stories travel and that healing accelerates when we carry one another. Share your story, lend your voice, and let grace turn pain into purpose. Book your podcast in the link below and share your story. Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good evening, and good night. Stay blessed.